Guys, welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, my name is Kelvin Sowa and I'm on a mission to help new developers understand how to build cross-platform mobile applications with React Native. And we are still on our projects, building out the movie app and integrating it with TMDB API. And trust me, we are really crashing through this course. And if you've been following along up to this point, I'd say kudos to you and congratulations for making it this far. We are just left with a few more episodes to complete this series. Hold tight and make sure you follow along as we go. And hopefully you'll be learning new things along the line. Now, we've been able to integrate the TMDB API. If you're on the homepage, this is the homepage. We are fetching in the API's data, getting the overview image on the movie cards as well. And we have these thumbnails being applied here. We have also integrated it on the movies tab here where you get to load the movies from the API. You can reload to fetch a new set of movies, as you can see here. And we have the same thing on the series tab as well. We have the series movies, the series thumbnails, sorry about that. The series, you can reload and then it's going to fetch a new series for you. You have Teen Wolves, and a whole lot, Peaky Blinders and so on. Hopefully you can even use this as your personal source to get new movies that have been released. All right, so in today's video, we are going to build up on what we did previously in integrating the API. What we are left to do now with the API is to make sure that when you press on any of the movie cards here, it navigates you to the details page, but we want to see the details of that particular movie you pressed, right? We want to see the details of that particular movie. We want to see the image here to be the backdrop of that movie, the title and its genres. And also the overview should be the text overview of that movie. And then we will have some, similar movie thumbnails down here as well. So that's what we're going to be doing. And also when you come to the profile tab here, you can see that we have these cards are now blank because we changed the setup for the movie card. Now we need to apply those changes on the cards here to make sure that they're also fetching the data from the TMDB API. Now, if this sounds interesting and you are really enjoying this course and excited about this video, like how I am, do what to smash the like button. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel, do what to hit the subscribe button and leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. I'm going to appreciate that a lot. And it goes a long way to help this channel grow. So really engage with this content and I'm going to be happy about it. Thank you so much. Now, let's jump right into building it out the details page and integrating it with the TMDB API. All right, so what we want to do now is right away open our movie card file. So you can simply do Command P and then we search movie card like so. So it's going to open it up for us. Good. Now, the approach we are going to take here is that when you press on the card, we want it to navigate to the details page, but we want to have the data or the details of that particular movie in hand before we get there. So there wouldn't be so much load time, right? So we simply pass the values into the parameters of the route. Okay, so that's what we are going to do here. So what we have done currently is simply when you press on the card, it's going to do router.push and then it navigates you to the details page. But instead of doing this, what we are going to do now is we are going to set the path name and then the parameters separately, right? So we are going to clear these details and then we're going to pass in an object here like so. Now in this object, we're going to pass the path name. So the path name is still going to be the details screen. So when you press, it's going to take us to the details screen. But now we are going to be adding some params. Okay. So these params are going to be the title. First of all, we're going to pass the title. And then we are going to pass the backdrop path that we are getting from the API, like so. We're also going to pass the date, like so. We are also going to pass the genre IDs like so. And finally, we pass the overview from the API, right? So this is a very simple approach that we can take to pass the data to the details page. Good. So now let's fetch the actual values from the TMDB data. So here we have the movie, and we already know the parameters of the movie. So what we are going to do here is, instead of just passing this empty string, we are going to say movie. The title is going to be movie.original title, or movie.original name, to cover for the series as well. All right. And then finally, the backdrop path we are going to say is going to be movie.backdrop path, like so. And then for the date is going to be movie.release date, like so. And then the journal IDs also is going to be movie.journal IDs, like so. And then for the overview, it's also going to be movie.overview, like so. Good. So what we have done here simply means that anytime we press on the details on a movie card to move to the details page, it's going to pass these values inside the params, and we can fetch these params and then use them on the details page. So when I press on it now, nothing is going to happen because we are not using these values. But now that we're on the details, we have these values on the details page. Okay, so let's open the details page and then start making use of these params that we've just passed. Good. So now on the details page, we have to fetch the data that we just passed. How are we going to do that? It's very simple and straightforward. So we are going to be using something called use local search params. And how are we going to use it? So I'm simply going to say const, and then we pass it inside an object. And it's going to be use local search params from Expo router, like this. And it's going to be of type any, like so. Okay, so here now, we can go ahead and then pass the parameters that we were setting. So title was the first one, pass the title, and then backdrop path, like so. And then we pass the date also that we set, and then the journal IDs, and finally the overview. So those are the values that we passed inside the movie card details. Inside our movie card, those were the values we passed to be sent back onto the details page. Okay, so that's what we are doing here now. Right. So we are getting an error here. Okay, yeah. So this is because this is still using the old approach for the movie card. So we are going to fix that in the right time. All right. So now we have the values that we passed earlier. Good. So on the details page, you can see that when you press on the movie details, we have this. So the API is not loading fast. Let's see what is going on. My Wi-Fi is down, so I'm using the hotspot, which is a bit slow. Let me let me fix it and make it faster. All right, good. We are back. So what we want to do here now is, first of all, we want to pass. Let's start with the simple ones, right? Well, let's pass the overview, because we know the overview, you can simply get it as a string. Okay, and it's already here. So I'm simply going to pick the overview, and then where we have hard-coded this overview string, we are going to pass it over here like this. Pass the overview string over here like this. And it should now change to the movie that we press. So as you can see, the text here has changed instantly because we are now getting the overview that we passed. So now anytime you press on any movie, it should get you the overview string of that particular movie, as you can see. So you're not going to be getting the hard-coded values anymore. You're going to be getting the actual overview of the actual image that we passed. And also, let's change the title. So the title here, where we have the Sandman, hard-coded the Sandman, we can simply remove it and then pass the title over here like so. Now this is going to replace it with the actual title. Okay, now with the year of release too, we can simply do what we did, a similar thing of what we did on the overview card, and then get the year of release. So I'm going to say const year released should be the date that we passed, which is a string, and then we are going to split it to create an array, we are splitting it with the dash parameter. And we want just the first item, which is the year on the 0 index, which is going to be the year, right? So this is what we are doing. If we don't have, we just pass an empty string. So that is what we are doing here. So this will give us the release year of that particular movie. Now, since we have the release year now, we can now pass it. We can now pass it over here, where we have the 2025. If I can find it. Yes. So we can now pass the release year over here like so. So you can now see that you get the actual year the movie was released. So it's now changed to 2024 because that's the year this particular movie was released. Now we need to pass the genre, right? Now one thing you have to understand is that because we passed it through the params, it got sent as a string and not an array. Originally the IDs are inside an array. Okay, the journal IDs are actually an array. So if you come to the movie card and you log the, let's say, journal IDs, and then you log the movie dot journal IDs. As you can see, it's an array, right? It's actually an array of IDs. But when you pass it, once you pass it through the params on the details page, it now becomes a string. Okay, let's log it here so that you see. Console.log journal like this. And then let's log the journal IDs. So the journal IDs, as you can see, it is now a string instead of an array, which it actually is. Because we passed this array to the params, it now became a string. So what we have to do now is to convert this string back to an array, and then we get the IDs and generate the actual journals for this particular movie. Okay, so that's pretty simple and straightforward. That's what we're going to be doing here. So I just wanted to explain it so you understand why we are doing it that way. Okay, so now we are going to switch this up a little bit. Let me clear this out. And then we are going to pass it into templates literals and pass the release year over here like so. Okay, and then we put this pipe over here. And then now what we are going to do is with the get journal string, we now pass the journal IDs dot split to get it as an array, right? The journal IDs dot split, and then we are splitting with the comma value. And this is going to get us an array. So if we have it, we just use it. If we don't, we just use this empty array. So this approach here is simply going to convert the string that we're getting from the journal IDs to an array, getting it based on the comma separation. And then once we get the ID, we pass it through our get journal string function, and then it's going to get us the actual journals for that particular movie. Okay, so that is what we are doing here basically. So when you come here, you can now see we are now getting the actual journal for that particular movie that we just pressed. So adventure and action, horror, and so on. So this one too, it is going to get the actual one, science and fiction, thriller. And we are getting the actual year of that particular movie. Good. So the next thing that we want to do now is to fix the backdrop image, right? The backdrop path image that we're here. So right now it's still using the static image value. Now we need to fix it. Okay, so we can simply use the same one as we have on the home page, but let me go ahead and then rewrite all those things so that we sort of have a refresher of what is happening. So we are simply going to say that const the backdrop image here is going to be equal to the backdrop path that we set. If we have it, we are going to use the TMDB. We're going to use the TMDB image-based path, and then we pass also the backdrop path here like so. That's when we have the backdrop. If we don't have it, simply pass now like so. So yes, this is going to be the backdrop image. Okay, So we are going to grab this backdrop image, and then over here, instead of using this hard-coded source value for the image, we are going to clear it. And the image is going to be, if we have the backdrop image, we are going to use the object and then pass the URI here. And the backdrop image is going to be the URI. If we don't, we use the default image that we created. Okay, we're going to use the default image that we created. So at this point, anytime you come, as you can see, it is fetching, it's using the actual image of that particular movie. We have the image card here, we have the title, we have the year it was released, the genre of that particular movie, we have the overview string here, text here as well that you can read. And it's going to be the actual information of this particular movie. Good. Now, finally, we need to fix this, and instead of using this hard-coded values, which is no longer working, we pass an actual TMDB movie. Okay, let's reload this to get back in there. Let's come in here like so. Good. So let's go back to the details page and let's fix this. So over here, now we want to fetch the movies, a movie set from the TMDB API. So I'm going to paste in some parameters that I'm going to be using here to fetch. Okay. So down here, we are simply going to paste this. Going to be the new set of parameters that I'll be using. So the parameters is going to be the same as you have been using always. The adults video, the include adults, include video, language. But this time we're using the page 3, the third page, and we're going to be sorting by popularity descending. Okay, so now let's use our custom hook to get the data. Pass in the data. I'm going to say use fetch, and then we pass discover, and then movie. Also, we pass in the params like so. All right, good. Now at this point, we can actually get the movie. So let's create the movies here and say cons trending movies, or let's call it similar movies. Let's call it similar movies. And it's going to be of type an array of movies. And it's going to be data.results, like so. Let's import the movie type. Good. So now we can be using the similar movies that we are getting from the API over here instead of using these values, right? So this is going to be similar movies if we don't use the empty array. And then we pass the movie prop as the item here like so. So now, as you can see, we are now getting actual movies on the bottom here like this. And it should now work whenever you press on the movie. It should take you to the details page of that particular movie. So you see how this is pretty much simple and how we've properly structured this app to work. So now anytime you press on a movie, it should take you to the details of that particular movie. So you come over here, press on the movie, it takes you to the detail, you get a title, Hunting Grounds, action thriller. The year was released 2025. And the description of that particular movie, desperate to find refuge for her children and so on. So, I mean, this is actually a pretty good API to get the details or the data of movies. And you can even use it for your own personal use. If you want to see new movies that you can actually watch, you can visit the app and then, explore it and see which new movies has been released. And, our overview here is also changing, giving us new updates as we move around. All right, so finally, we need to now set the same thing up on the profile page. Because right now we have this blank cards because we don't have the actual images. Okay, we are not passing the actual API details. So let's come back here and head over to tabs. The tabs, then we open the profile tab, right? So on the profile tab, here we now need to set the movie paths for the tabs that we're having here, the list that we're having here. So we have yesterday and then 15th October. So this is just like dummy structure that we want to set for the profile page. Okay, so what we want to do now, first of all, as you already know, pass in the params. Okay, so I'm going to paste in the params in here that we're going to be using to fetch the details, the movies. So the params here is simply going to be this, and then we can now fetch the data. Okay, so we're going to say const data, which is going to be, let's say, yesterday data is going to be, as you already know, use fetch, and then we pass in discover, and it's going to be movie, like so, and then we pass the params here, like so. Okay, so the yesterday movie, I'm going to say const yesterday movies is going to be a movie array. Let's make sure I'm importing it. It's going to be equal to yesterday data dot results, like so. Okay, so we are going to do a similar thing for the second tab here. So let's copy this and let's duplicate it actually. So let's call this date params, and the only thing we are going to change, or in fact we don't even need to duplicate this, right? All we have to do is to create a duplicate of this, and then I'm going to change this to date data, but then for the params we are simply going to use the same params here, like so. I'm going to pass the params here, like so, but then the only thing we're going to change is the page. So the page here, we are going to say it's to be 2 to get different, image sources. So at this point, we can now pass the date data. So say const date movies, pass the type movie, and then it's going to be date data dot results, like so. All right, good. So now we pick the yesterday's movies, come down here, and we pass it in here, like so. Then we clear this and pass the movie item. Pass the item in here. So now we should get the movies from here. And then when you come down here also, we do a similar thing, but we'll be using the date movies. Copy it, come down here, pass it over here, clear this thing, and then pop it over here like this. Clear this items, pass the prop, then pass the item over here. Good. So now when you come to the movies, you should now be seeing different movies over here, like so. All right, awesome. So now you have it, you set it up, you can press on the movie, you should take it to the details page. You should get to see the actual details of the movie. All right, awesome. So this is going to be the full integration that we need to do with the TMDB API on this movie app. We've successfully integrated it on the home page where we have this overview. We have the title being displayed, the genres of that movie, the overview movie. We've now passed the different movies on the various tabs. We have the trending now, we have the new releases, and so on. We have it being passed over here, like so. So everything is working. We now have the movies on the movies tab. You can pull down to reload, to refresh, and get a new set of movies. Come to the series tab as well. It's going to load it up for you. You can pull to reload new sets of movies for this category. And then you come to the profile as well. You can see your profile page with some other details of movies. You can press on a movie and it's going to take you to the details of that particular movie, K-pop Demon Hunters. We have the year, and then we have the genres as well, and also the overview. Awesome. So if this video has been helpful and you are really enjoying this video, do want to hit the like button if you haven't already. And If you are new to this channel, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and feel free to leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. And congratulations to you if you have made it this far to this point of the video, and hopefully you are learning new things and are really enjoying these videos as I keep making them. Thank you so much for sticking along, and catch you in the next video.